we doing, everybody, and welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Monday, June 30. I almost said June 31st. July 1st. My mistake there. It's 30 days in June. I almost butchered a start. July 1st today, a fantastic July 1st. Talking about more rain moving in tomorrow, but what can we do about tomorrow? Today is supposed to be fantastic. A great week here. A shortened week for a lot of people, right? July 4th, 4th of July, coming up on Thursday there. Exciting stuff. And a lot of exciting stuff happening in the world of sports. Over this last weekend, we got to be looking at a lot of it. Brewers series win over the Cubs. Everything is better when the Brewers beat the Cubs. So Brewers with that weekend series win there. We had, a great homestand. Going to be talking about that. NBA free agency is just getting started. We see a lot of guys getting cut, a lot of guys signing up now. So, we got to be looking at that. Looking all over at the NBA. A little bit of Packer talk today. See where the day takes us, right? That's what we do. We see where the day takes us. So, right away, I want to look at the NBA. I want to look at the NBA free agency, what's all going on right now. We've seen some big names out there being talked about right now, and, well, some guys have already signed up. We look at, just as of yesterday there, we saw Valanciunas. He signed with the Washington Wizards, and we saw Chris Paul. He got waived by the Warriors, and no kidding, not too long later. And this is big props to a good friend of the show and Chomping on the Bit podcast is where he's from, Kyle Edwards. He said on a show that I was watching that once Chris Paul was waived, he expected his number one destination for him was the Spurs. That's what he said, point blank. It was maybe an hour. It was an hour or two before it actually happened. And then it came out that Chris Paul was going to sign with the San Antonio Spurs. So see Chris Paul with Victor, a true point guard in there to really help Victor Wembanyama out. I think that's going to be good news. Just like he was saying, it's going to be good news for the Spurs there. So we see a lot of movement now. In some East news right now, we see the 76ers are the front runners for Paul George right now. He actually became a free agent after he declined his deal with the LA Clippers. Not sure if he's going to return to the Clippers yet or if he's going to look to move elsewhere there. The Sixers, they have money to spend, right? They have a lot of free agents, money to spend. They can dive deep into the bigger contracts here in free agency. So Paul George seems like a good answer for them. That's what they think, at least as of right now. So we'll see where that one takes off. Outside of that, not much happening. We see Andre Drummond is going to the 76ers already on a 2-year, $10 million deal there. Kevin Love's returning to the Heat on a 2-year deal. I am surprised Kevin Love is still rolling around there. He's getting old. He's getting up there in age. Right now. Looking at some interesting news. Klay Thompson is a free agent. He's planning to have some discussions with the Mavericks, Lakers, Clippers, and 76ers already in the opening hours there. The Warriors offered him a 2-year deal. He wanted max contract. Klay's not worth max contract. So Warriors said, well, we're sorry to see it, but we can't do that for you. He's going to test it out. I just can't. I really can't foresee maybe the Sixers with all that money if they don't get Paul George. If they don't get Paul George, then maybe they dive into the Klay Thompson and sign him for that max contract that he's looking for. Outside of that, going to the Mavericks, would that be beneficial to the Mavs? I would say so. They just went to the NBA Finals. They seemed like they were still missing scoring pieces. So if Klay can be a scorer once again and decent on the defensive end, I think that would help them out. The Lakers, depends where they head off to. We see LeBron's going to try reworking that contract. AD's injury prone. Austin Reeves is already there. You could see Klay fitting in there too. Clippers, same thing. I saw James Harden is actually planning on returning to the Clippers. 2 years, $70 million deal for James Harden. I wouldn't want James Harden. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't want James Harden. I really wouldn't. So, surprising deal right there. But So that's the start of NBA free agency so far. Well, what we've seen a little bit there, some of the bigger names moving around there. Caldwell Pope is actually finalizing a deal with the Orlando Magic right now. So interesting stuff there outside of Milwaukee. But looking at the Bucks and, heading into this free agency, we saw what they did in the draft, right? And, a question mark for some people in that first round. The more you look at AJ Johnson, the more I kind of started to see what Horst was looking for there. And, is Johnson this bona fide, like, I'm going to throw this guy into my starting role, right? Or even coming off the bench? Is he going to be a number, 8 guy? Is he going to be that guy? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But you look at a lot of these other teams. Look at the Celtics. Look at the Pacers right now. You look at the Knicks, where these teams have started, and they grow it from youth, right? They're bringing in a lot of youth. Look at the Indiana Pacers. That's a lot of draft. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a lot of draft. Look at the Timberwolves. That's a lot of draft. So I guess my biggest thing is when I look at the Bucks now, you look at the big three, right? You have Middleton, you have Dame, and you have Giannis. With those three, you are going to take them on with the other big threes in the NBA, right? You look at the Celtics with Drew Holiday and Tatum and Brown. You want you're taking your big three against their big three, and that's how it's going to be, right? Role players will fill in the rest. Your Porzingises from the Celtics, your Bobby Portis from the Bucks, right? Your role players will take it so far, but you're looking at the big three. So in all reality, I mean, if say the Bucks would have went a different direction, got a guy, I don't know, like Fulakowski or whoever, would he have been the difference with this aging Bucks roster? Would he have been the difference maker right away for the Bucks? Would he have been the, if we would have got Flip, we would have won the NBA Finals? Because I just went over a stat the other day, and in the last, I don't know, 5-7 years, I was trying to remember back to that stat that I saw, but only one team had a true rookie actually contribute to their finals run, and that was the Nuggets with Christian Braun. Outside of that, there hasn't been a rookie that has truthfully contributed in the scoring department or anything to a team that's in the finals. So looking at this AJ Johnson, you look at the speed, you look at the athleticism, the acceleration that he gets, the deceleration, the ability to work through the lane, the ability to make plays, right? Playmaking ability. You look at that, some of the intangibles that he has. Now, he's not the greatest defender, and he's not big yet. And that was the big thing when Giannis was drafted too, right? Giannis wasn't big. He wasn't a big dude. He was a real skinny dude, like looked like your average high school junior out there, right? And the Bucks, I mean, he got to work. The Bucks got to work with him, slowly built him up, and now we see what Giannis is, right? This could be the same thing. They're trying the same thing out with AJ Johnson. Horst saw something that he liked. He saw the athleticism. He saw everything else. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have liked a more ready prospect, right? Because you look at the roster right now with Dame, with Giannis, with Middleton, with Brook Lopez, and Bobby. This is an aging roster, right? You only have so long with these guys in their prime, or in close or in their primes, right? You only have so long left of that. So it seems like it's a win now stage for Milwaukee. If they're going to keep trending in this direction, right? They don't have money to spend. Why? They have it all locked up, right? Brooks got a big contract. Giannis has got a big contract. Dame's got a big contract. Middleton's got a big contract. You got 4 guys with big contracts. You can't afford to get anybody else, right? Right now, you're looking at guys with veteran minimums, right? So you're at the bottom of the barrel guys. Now, are they all going to be terrible? No. They're still going to be contributors on rosters and everything like that. I'm not saying these guys are just completely going to be useless if anybody picks them up. But what I'm saying is, like, you're not even in the talks for, let's just say, a guy like Andre Drummond, right? A big, solid backup center. You weren't even in the talks for because you couldn't be. You didn't have it even close to the capital to be even go out and look at him. So the Bucks are in that salary nightmare, and, well, you don't want to say nightmare because they have their guys, but in this state of mind, it's a win now stage. So some people took that with the AJ Johnson pick as, why did we get AJ Johnson then? it's almost like the Bucks are trying to play both sides, right? They're trying to stay in the win now, but they also want to build for the future, right? And my biggest problem is, okay, we can keep drafting these guys and we can keep telling ourselves that's the case. But MarJon Beauchamp, I've been told through articles and listening to Horst and everything like that he's untouchable, right? He's untouchable. During the trade deadline, everything like that, he was untouchable. Why is he untouchable? Because we don't utilize him. I don't feel like we're developing him like he should be. So why is he untouchable to other teams? If some team comes calling and they're willing to offer you so-and-so for MarJon and Pat Connaughton, then why would you even turn that down if you're not even willing to utilize his talents on this team, right? Andre Jackson Jr., is he going to fit in that same fold? We know Doc Rivers. A lot of people know Doc Rivers. And his lack of or trust in rookies and young guys, right? He loves his veterans. That's the cold hard truth. He loves his vets. And we saw that last season. We barely saw Andre Jackson. We barely saw MarJon. And AJ Green got sparing minutes. He'd be in one night, next night he'd go out. He'd have 12 one night, and the next night he doesn't even play. Like, the sparing usage of these young guys really, really interests me because it's simply, as I just stated before, it doesn't make sense to, draft a project and then have him end up in that same boat as what we're seeing with MarJon and elsewhere with some of these Bucks rookies. So definitely going to be an interesting thing to see what the Bucks do, with free agency coming up here, because they have looking at some of the guys on minimum deals, right? And I saw a list of guys who would most likely be minimum deals. You could potentially sign them up to come play in Milwaukee there. And the names on there, Eric Gordon was on there, and Chris Nunn was on there too. There was a couple of interesting guys that, for me, that if the Bucks were to look at, you look at some of the free agents the Bucks have, Gallinari, and you have Beasley, and, other pieces, Crowder's in there too. Do you bring any of those back? Or are you letting them walk? Gallinari would be an interesting one. To me, I don't believe Gallinari actually got enough time for me to actually sit here and say, this guy doesn't deserve a roster spot, right? Because, he played sparing minutes, but was solid in those sparing minutes. I thought he was solid. Didn't really get the time of day. So with Gallinari, if you bring him back, he's still a good scorer, right? He's still a good scorer. Is he a great defensive player? No. So if you could go out there and you could maybe get like a guy like Bruce Brown or Robert Covington, right? If Covington will sign for less or Bruce Brown will sign for less, maybe that's an option you go with. Eric Gordon would be, if you want a shooter, which I believe the Bucks need. Unless Doc's going to use his youth, Eric Gordon's still a very good shooter. So would the Bucks trend in that direction? I think the Bucks need a trend in defense. I think they need to find some solid defenders in that wing position there to match up with Dame. Because I just don't trust Dame. I really don't. I don't trust him defensively. And if you pair him up like they did with a guy like Beasley, who also struggles defensively, then you're going to run into issues when you play a team with good guards, right? With good guard play. The Celtics, right? The Celtics will give you problems, as they did and as they would, right? Bucks played well against the Celtics. I'm not going to say that they played completely terrible, because they did beat the Celtics pretty handily, but that's a very good team in the Boston Celtics, and they're only getting better. Right, they're only getting better there. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the Bucks do in that right. But I really do believe, end of the day, they need to build with youth. They need to build up their youth inside the organization already. I think Andre Jackson Jr., Ajax, could be a very good player. I think AJ Green could be very good. He's a good shooter, right? He could be a very good shooter, and he hustles. Both those guys I just named hustle. So does Beauchamp. if you throw him in there. So just those three guys. And now you have the likes of A.J. Johnson coming in if you are the Bucks, and you also have second-round pick there, Tyler Smith, coming in, a small forward. You have young pieces now to build up. This is where this is where you really want to see it, right? You want to see some of these guys maybe get into the fold a little bit there and work with the older vets, right? And maybe that's the key. Because you play a team like the Pacers and you watch that Bucks team last year against the Pacers, they were outmatched athletically. They were. The Pacers were more athletic all the way around. And the Bucks just couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep up. If they could shoot, they could stay in games, but otherwise they couldn't keep up. And, I mean, it didn't help. Giannis went out in the playoff series there. Didn't really have Dame. Didn't really have a healthy Middleton at all last season. So getting that big three healthy, like I said, is going to be a big thing. And I really still think you got to find somebody to back up Brook Lopez. You got to find somebody. And somebody with a little bit of athleticism and ability to guard. I don't even need him to be a scorer. I need a 7-footer, 6'11", 7-footer, who can stand in the paint, can hit me a couple hook shots, but rebound and play defense and step out on shooters. That's what I need. Brook Lopez last year to me was a free throw line to three-point line, back to the free throw line kind of guy. When Damian Lillard and Beasley have more rebounds in a game than my 7-footer, that's a problem. That is a problem, right? I mean, it's a good thing that Dame and Beasley are getting rebounds, right? But at the same time, I want my 7-footer down there grabbing boards. That's what I pay him for. That's why he's 7 feet tall and he's my center. There's a reason behind it. So when my guards have to do all the rebounding, that's an issue. When I have guards trying to guard big guys because I just got blown past if I'm Brook Lopez, I just got cooked, and now I got my guards trying to stop a big man, that's an issue. So I know a lot of people like Brook Lopez. I know. And I like Brook, but he's not that he can't play defense. He struggles because he's getting slower. He's getting older, right? He's getting older. He's getting slower. So that affects him. He can't really play inside anymore. He did a little bit in that Pacers series. I was like, holy crap, who's this guy? And then he resorted back to the three-point line. To me, he's an inconsistent three-point shooter. He gets on little burners here and there, but he's inconsistent at times. I just feel like the Bucks could be better off. I really do. I really do feel like the Bucks could be better off. I don't know if you could find a trade partner for Brook. I don't know who would want him. I don't know who would want him. And like I said, this is my opinion on it. This is my opinion. You might think something completely different. But to me, Brook Lopez is getting older. He's getting slower. The contract is beating us up. And for a guy who can really, realistically only shoot threes, and that's it, I can find a guy who can do that plus a little bit more, right? Robert Covington can shoot threes, plus he can play defense and go inside. He's a little bit quicker, right? Andre Drummond he's quicker. Andre Drummond's a little bit quicker. And the guy can at least stand in the post area, get me rebounds, and play the post like a traditional or a semi-traditional big guy would. I'm not saying I don't want a big guy who can shoot threes either. That's not what I'm saying. I want a guy who can play multiple levels. Look at Miles Turner with the Pacers last season. Look at Bam Adebayo. Look at Nikola Jokic. Look at Anthony Davis, right? Those guys can play multiple levels on the scoring end, but they also rebound the basketball. They're also down in the post area making things happen. And that is where I think we lack one of the places that we lack right now is in that post spot. So definitely going to be interested to see what the Bucks do here coming up in free agency. We got plenty of more Bucks talk over the summer here to get to, and then into the fall before the start of the year here. So with that, I want to get to some sponsors of the show here quick before we move on. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. Sports scenes, sports cards, and memorabilia located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. You got to get down there, check out the wide variety from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars, Al has it all down at the store there. Sports Scene in Marshfield, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether at work, whether it was pushing the lawnmower, you were playing with the kids, and, well, something made a noise that shouldn't have, and you need some physical therapy, stop in there, call down to Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin, and see Chad. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to work, back out mowing the lawn, back playing with the kids, feeling better than ever. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. And also your Marshfield Motor Speedways, located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get out there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better for a great summer day/night than being down at the track. So Marshfield Motor Speedways there in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Find the schedule online or at their Facebook page. Just search Marshfield Motor Speedways. Otherwise, check out my Facebook page, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I make sure to share it there so that you guys can stay in the loop there. So with that, I want to get to a little NFL talk, a little bit of Packer talk today. And, we got a while. Packers will be rejoining here in July, getting the team back together and everything like that. But we got a little bit here, and I wanted to discuss some of the players as we go along here, getting closer and closer to being into the season. And the first player I wanted to look at was Luke Musgrave. And for me, looking at Luke, and the big thing I just want to talk about here is, could Luke Musgrave take the next step to be a top tight end in the NFC coming up this next season here? When watching him, seeing the athletic ability that Luke Musgrave has, and if you're talking tight ends, Luke Musgrave has some of the most upside of any tight end in the league there. He's what you would call a super athlete, right? And the way that Jordan Love uses Luke Musgrave, right? It gives you those vibes of like Patrick Mahomes and a Travis Kelsey. Or, I'm trying to think of good comparisons. Kelsey's like a main guy. Luke Musgrave is almost could be classified. Is he your bailout guy, or is he your all around guy? And I truthfully believe that he has the upside to be like a Travis Kelsey, like a Rob Gronkowski kind of guy, right? Those guys, they're instrumental inside the offense, and you can't really it's hard to replace the production that they throw out there. The Packers are lucky enough that they have a guy by the name of Tucker Kraft to go along with Luke Musgrave. Looking at last season there for Luke Musgrave, regular season stats, 34 receptions, 352 yards, 1 touchdown, and about 10 on average there. Now, it really, if you really look at it, it seems like a small sample size because of the lack of games, right? He only played in 11 games, those 34 receptions on 46 targets, so he only missed about 12 balls there, and he had, like I said, the 352 yards there. Luke Musgrave, to me, has the capability to be a top tight end in the NFC. He does. I really think he does. I think the Packers hit with Luke Musgrave. Just his catch radius, like I was saying before, his athleticism, his ability to spread out, his ability to kind of spread the center of the field, right? Make the center of the field open. And it's going to benefit the wide receivers in the Green Bay, in their room, a lot. I really do think having a guy like Luke Musgrave in there, because I feel like he kind of makes the defense contract there in that center of the field when they see him coming, because he is such a good athlete. He is such a good target for the Green Bay Packers that looking at the receiver core, that's going to open up a lot more. They got to stay honest with a tight end like that. You look at when teams play Travis Kelsey, how much they have to key in on a guy like Travis Kelsey. Same with like TJ Hawkinson, right? Or George Kittle, like I mentioned earlier there. I mean, some of the bigger tight ends, some of the better tight ends in football, you really have to key in on those guys. Defenses really do. That opens up everything else there, opens up the run, opens up the passing lanes for other guys there. So that's my thing with Luke Musgrave, is the path that he's trending on right now. And just watching that guy in his limited amount of action, I mean, guy lacerated his liver. He lacerated his liver? Was that what it was? Liver or lung, but lung seems pretty intense. It was one of the two. I feel like it might have been lung the more I say it, but it might have been liver too. So it's something with an L. Something with an L there. But, I mean, just the way that he plays the position and dominates the football game when he's in there with his presence. Just his presence, I feel like, gives a calming effect to a guy like Jordan Love. I love what I've seen on Luke Musgrave. I really do think, to answer that question in full force there, I think that Luke Musgrave could take the next step in this next season to be a top tight end in the NFC. I really do. I think he could be up there with the likes of George Kittle, with the likes of TJ Hawkinson. I think he could be right there with those guys at the top there. He could be if not the best tight end in the NFC North, because Hawkinson's in there, right? You have some good tight ends right there in that NFC North already, that it's going to be tough, right? It's going to be tough to definitely just clarify him a top tight end in the NFC North, because I was just trying to look up, I forgot his name right now. Sam Laporta is the one from the Lions there. But there's a lot of good tight ends. There is a lot of good tight ends in the NFC North, because you look at the Bears, and did they just get Kmet? I believe they just got Kmet there in this offseason. I thought so. Yeah, Cole Kmet is now there. Mercedes Lewis is still there. Whatever. But they got Cole Kmet now. So, I mean, the NFC North could have the 4 best tight ends in the NFC when it's all said and done. If you don't include like George Kittle, and there's some other good tight ends in the NFC, but those are some household names right there, with Hawkinson already there and Kmet, and then you add in Laporta and you add in Luke Musgrave. That could be a interesting, who is your best tight end in the NFC North right now? Hawkinson is you can't put Luke Musgrave above Hawkinson at this very moment, but long-term future, looking at this guy, the way that he plays, the toughness, the athleticism, everything, all the intangibles, this could be a Travis Kelsey, Rob Gronkowski-esque kind of guy there in Luke Musgrave. So definitely good stuff there. Like I said, I want to keep talking about some of these players, seeing if I believe they could take the next step heading into this next season as the weeks go on here, as we get closer to training camp and as we get closer into the preseason and the start of the season there coming up this fall here. But in other Packer news, I saw an article and they were discussing if the Packers should bring back David Bakhtiari, because David Bakhtiari came out and it was to Adam Schefter, and he says that he wants to play with the next Super Bowl MVP. Now that's open-ended, because when I was reading this guy took that and he spun it as to think of like, oh yeah, he wants to play with Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or one of these guys. There's 2 ways to look at it. Either he meant it like that, where he's like, I want to play with Patty Mahomes, I want to play with Joe Burrow, I want to play with, one of these big dogs, right? Or he meant, I want to go play for a Super Bowl winning team with a great quarterback who's going to be a Super Bowl MVP, right? Just a basic open-ended, like, I want to contribute into helping win a Super Bowl. Now, a lot of people, when they read this, they speculated out and they're like, oh, well, he means he wants to go play, Patrick Mahomes, they just made a move, so probably not going to be looking for David Bakhtiari there. Lamar Jackson, he's got pieces in place. Oh, he must be talking about Jordan Love. He must be talking about a reunion there in Green Bay. And then I saw people speculating, well, should we bring him back? Should we leave him out there? I was at a crossroads with this because why I wanted David Bakhtiari gone to begin with was because of the massive contract, right? He had a big contract. And he wasn't really playing to earn that contract. He was injured all the time. We had to worry about David Bakhtiari. Was he even going to be healthy? He wasn't healthy. He was out for the whole season. It was his knees again. It was this. It was that. I mean, it was always something. So, yes, I did want him gone to begin with. But now, if you could get David Bakhtiari back for a lot less, right? A lot less than what that contract was going to be. If you can settle to a smaller contract with David Bakhtiari, does that change your opinion? Does that change, the narrative? Because when this guy's healthy, when he's out there, he is a solid offensive lineman for the Green Bay. He's been a solid offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. I've looked at it from both sides. I've thought about it from both ways. Why I wouldn't want him, why I would. Why I wouldn't is the injury prone. He's injury prone. And it sucks to say, but he is. So that would take away from that. Looking at the flip side of it, when he's healthy, very good. Very good. Now, does this last injury slow him down? Maybe, right? So you bring him in, he's got to pass a physical to even get the contract. You got to see him out there to begin with. And maybe it's an incentive-based, right? Maybe it's an incentive-based deal. What kind of deal is he looking for, right? What kind of deal is David Bakhtiari coming off an injury going to be looking for out there? So there's a lot of different ways that you could spin this. And I want to know your guys' answers. So if you got time, go in the bio, click the send us a message, right? Send us a text message. Click that. And then from there, it'll take you to a text message. You send it to us. We can answer your opinion there. Because I really do want some opinions on this. Because I'm at a crossroads right now of if it makes sense to bring back David Bakhtiari to the Green Bay Packers. Now, with the young guys, with some of the pieces they have in the offensive room are ready. Maybe not, but depth is good. Depth is good, and even having a veteran presence might be even better if you can get him for a full healthy season, because that's all we've been waiting on for years now with David Bakhtiari is a full healthy season. So with that, that's about all I got. Packer talk. We talked NBA. We talked Packers. Now we got to talk Brewers. We got to talk about the Brew Crew. A big 5-1 homestand. They swept the Texas Rangers, and it makes it sound better, so I'm going to say it. The defending World Series champs, the Texas Rangers. They swept them. And then they had that little off day. They got the Cubs on Friday night. That was a 4-2 win for the Brewers there on Friday. The Brewers used a big 4-run fourth. There were only 6 runs in total between both teams scored in the entire game. They all came in the 4th inning. That is something that you don't see every day. And it happened again on Friday, and it happened another time over the weekend. Another grand slam for the Brewers. This time it came off the bat from Jackson Chourio. Jackson Chourio has been a dog for the Brewers. Let's just be real now. Let's just all take a moment, because I had to, where I dissed on this guy. I said, and this is like me, this is like deja vu, because I had the same thing with Jordan Love. I have some bad takes sometimes. And I said Jackson Chourio would have been my guy to send down to get some at-bats at AAA, to get his bat right, bring him back up, right? I was wrong. You look at every level that Jackson Chourio has been at, whether it's single A, double A, triple A, now in the big leagues. Every single level, if you look at the first couple games to couple weeks in those stops along the way, he starts out cold. I don't know what it is, but he starts out cold. It doesn't start out extremely well. Not what you hope for, right? It's a colder start. Right? Not like a Bryce Strang to start the year, or, Blake Perkins has been over time here for the Brewers at times, right? It's a cold start. Now, looking at him, month of June, in 24 games, He has a 314 average. He has a 355. His line 314, 355, 543, and he's got an 898 OPS right now. 898 in the OPS department. This guy has been cracking the baseball around right now. It has been nothing short of impressive. That's all you can say. That's all you can say when you look at Jackson Chourio right now. This guy, in all reality, the Brewers could have given up on this guy already. They could have said, you know what, we're paying you all this money. We're going to send you down to AAA. We're going to let you work out your things, and then we'll bring you back up, right? Could have definitely done something like that. But the Brewers, Pat Murphy, they held faith. They held out. They kept him up on the big league roster. And this guy has just been lighting the baseball up in the month of June. I was just going to check out, like I said, looking at his stats over there. I mean, last 30 days, 289 average, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, 6 walks, 18 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases, 26 hits. Last 15 games, 326 average. Last 7 games, 417 average. That on-base percentage that I just mentioned there over the entirety of month of June there with that 355, over the last 7 games, he's sitting at 440. Over the last 15, 373. Over the last 30, he's been sitting at 330. His slugging percentage over the last 7 games has been 750. Over the last 15 is 422. Jackson Chourio is coming full fold, right? He's coming full fold. We feel better than the Baltimore Orioles fans who are still waiting on Jackson Holiday to come up. We're seeing good stuff out of Jackson Chourio there. Brewers only had 5 hits in that game. 5 hits in total. Those 4 runs coming off the bat of Jackson Chourio in that one. Colin Ray, he pitched well. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. The home run ball. The home run ball continues to plague the Milwaukee Brewers, and I can't. It's like the one thing. It's that one thing that continues to eat the Brewers alive. Led to the 2 runs in this game for the Cubs. Looking at the game after here, we're going to talk about on Saturday. Led to the Brewers' loss. There was that home run ball. It has just been. I don't know why. I don't know why, but it's kicked crap out of them. They're 19th right now in home runs as a pitching staff. 19th, close to the bottom there in home runs. I mean, 95 given up there on the season. That is one of their worst stats. Strikeouts and home runs given up. Outside of that, I mean, hits, they're 12th, 16th in walks. Looking at the hit by pitches, they're actually ranked 22nd in hit by pitches as a pitching staff. So they've hit their fair share of guys, right? So hitting guys, walking guys, and giving up home runs. That's a bad combo. That's a bad combo to mix in there because 12th in hits, they're not letting a lot of guys hit. They're walking them, they're hitting them, and they're giving up home runs. That's it. I mean, you look at that. That is it right now for bad stats for the pitching staff. And that's, I mean, a big problem in the starting role right now. So Colin Ray, though, solid day. Paguero, then, he came in for an inning and a third, 2 hits, 2 Ks, 1 walk on the day. Jared Koenig, inning and a third there for the Brewers, 3 strikeouts for Jared Koenig there. And sadly, now we get more injury news for the Brewers. Jared Koenig, right now, he's on the IL list. He was put on the 15-day IL list as of a day ago there. Not good news. Not good news with that one. It's in his elbows. It's in his elbow once again there. I'm really hoping that this isn't a prolonged injury for Jared Koenig because this guy has had such a phenomenal, and I mean just a phenomenal season for the Brewers, a phenomenal comeback season. I mean, this guy has not been talked about for years. This was a guy who could have potentially been an all-star candidate. I'll be honest with you. This guy could have been on the all-star team. 7-1 record, a 1.66 ERA, 38 innings, 36 strikeouts, and a 1 whip. This guy is pitching unreal this year. And for something like this with an elbow issue and a potential of, we got to look at scans to see what the next steps are going to be. really points you in a bad direction with Jared Canning. So now it's like crap, right? Brian Hudson, Jared Canning, those two were as for sure as when you go to the grocery store and you go in the processed bread aisle, you're going to find a loaf of sliced bread somewhere in there, right? Those two are as for sure as that. Now it's like, who do you turn to now in that long relief role? Is it going to be a guy like Dallas Keuchel? Are we going to see more Keuchel? I don't know. But the Brewers have had a crap of luck with pitchers and going on the IL. That is for sure. That is 100% sure right there. If we're just going to keep getting guys hurt, could we at least get Brandon Woodruff back? Could we at least just have him back and you could take these other guys? Like, give us 1-for-1 trade here in the injury department. We get it. We got Garrett Mitchell back, right? They give us Garrett Mitchell. That's all we can get. That's all we can get out of this right now. Maybe a pitcher here and there. Maybe we see the Brewers make a move now for a pitcher. I don't know. It depends if they trust what they're seeing right now in a guy like Dallas Keuchel, or DL Hall is going to be coming back here at some point. Maybe this could be a blessing in disguise, but maybe DL Hall could fit into what I don't know if he's going to be. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as what we've seen out of Jared Canning so far, but DL Hall could potentially fill that role, the long relief role. Because to me, I don't know if DL Hall is going to be a starter. It seems like he goes through some good innings and then he has a bad inning here and there. Or it always seems like he has that blow-up inning. Maybe, just maybe, we see a guy like DL Hall fill in as a long relief guy for the Brewers there in that 6th, 7th inning range there. Give you 2 innings like Jared Canning was. That could be a potential thing there. And, just moving out of that, getting into the rest of this box score here, we saw McGill get the save there on Friday. Brewers, runners in scoring position, 2 for 4. Not a lot of chances with runners in scoring position. 3 guys left on base in that one. Looking at the game on Saturday, lost that one 5-3. And like I said, an Ian Happ 2-run home run there in the 8th off of Yoel Payamps was the difference. What is going on with Yoel Payamps? Because it seems like Payamps is like, 1 second I feel like Payamps could be slowly starting to figure it out. And the next it's like, what happened, right? He's had 2 good outings in a row against the Rangers there. 1 inning against the Rangers on the 24th and the 26th, both an inning apiece. 1 hit given up between the 2 outings there, and 1 strikeout. He had that third of an inning, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 3 walks against Chicago. Such a night and day difference with Payamps. And it's the location, it's the control of his stuff, getting that breaking ball working. It's a night and day thing. It is truthfully a night and day thing, and we're all just hoping to see a glimmer of what we saw from Yoel Payamps last season for a period of time, right? That's all we're hoping for, because Payamps, when he was right, when he's doing his thing, the guy is still a solid reliever. It's just getting that out of him. There. So Payamps gives up those 2 runs. Myers has one of his worst outings in a while, but still pitches solid. Still a solid outing. Got himself out of trouble. Pitched a decent game there. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a home run given up there for Myers. Like I said, the home run ball for the Brewers pitching staff as a total, bullpen and starters, has been a issue. So, all season. All season long. Brewers 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. 7 guys left on base in this one. We saw Terang with 2 hits. Contreras with 2 hits. Hoskins, 2 hits. That's great to see, as Hoskins getting a couple of hits. This is a guy that the Brewers are desperately hoping finds a bat of some sort along the way. Over the last 7 games, he's hitting .292 here. So maybe this is the turnaround. 7 hits in his last 24 at-bats for Hoskins. Maybe this is the turnaround we were hoping for out of Hoskins there. Outside of that, we saw hits spread apart there. We saw Yelich with a hit, Churio with a hit there. We saw Frelick get a hit, Perkins and Monasterio in this one here. So Brewers, 11 hits in total, 3 runs to show for it. Cubs, they took advantage. Big 2-run home run by Ian Happ there in that 8th inning. That was the difference in the 5-3 finish in this one. The Brewers put the pressure on them in that 9th inning, just weren't able to come up with the hits. to win that one. And that led us into the Sunday matchup, the 7-1 win for the Brewers, a big 7-run fourth inning for the Brewers. This one, when it started, I got nervous. I truthfully did. Nico Hoerner led off the game with a home run, and I was like, crap. This is one of Freddie's games. He's been having some of these location issues, some of these games as of late, and I was like, crap, here we go again. Freddie Peralta pitched a dynamite game. There is nothing short you could say than dynamite. 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, that home run, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. Freddie was phenomenal in this game. Jacob Junis, 2 innings then, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Great to see Jacob Junis getting some solid work in the bullpen there and having some good outings there. Brewers, 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 6 guys left on base. This one was decided by Bryce Terang. That grand slam just took it out. The best call I have ever heard was Jeff Levering on WTMJ 620 when he called that, and all he had to say was, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" That's all he said. And it was just the roof blew off that place. Terang had a fantastic game, 2 for 5. I still believe that is an absolute joke that we are not talking about Bryce Terang in the likes of the All-Star voting. I really do. I think it's a joke. I think it's an absolute joke. Luis Arias and Ketel Marte are on that list. No Bryce Terang. That is an absolute joke. MLB fans, they irritate the crap out of me because the ones that vote, they know players, and that's why they vote for him. It's an absolute joke. Nobody looks at what the stats tell you or anything like that. Otherwise, we would not see Manny Machado even in the talks at third base right now, because you could put Joey Ortiz above him. You could put Ryan McMahon from the Colorado Rockies above him. You could put a couple guys above what we've seen out of. You could put Austin Riley above him, and Austin Riley hasn't played a full season, but stat-wise, if he had, he'd be the best third baseman in the MLB right now. That's all I know. So, I mean, it's a joke that we aren't talking about Bryce Terang as a all-star there. Looking at the Brewers, though, 4 grand slams at home in this last week and weekend series there. Hoskins, Bowers, Churio, and Terang there. And we saw 5 in the last 8 days. 5 grand slams in the last 8 games for the Brewers there. That is crazy. That is great. They are terrible with the bases loaded, but if they want to keep whacking grand slams left and right, that's okay too. I can work with that. I can work with that deal right there. It is just, you could almost talk about Bryce Terang as a MVP candidate, and he's not even in there as an all-star vote. You look at the wins above replacement, so it basically just states itself. Wins. You know, if this guy's in the game, how often, how much does he affect his team winning and losing a game? You look at the list of all MLB players. Number 1, Shohei Ohtani. Number 2, Marte. That's Ketel Marte. There you go. There's Ketel Marte's name being brought in. Mookie Betts in the 3 spot. Bryce Harper in the 4 spot. Guess who's number 5? Bryce Terang. 3.5. He's right behind Harper at 3.7. Betts is at 4, Marte's at 4.2, and Shohei Ohtani's at 4.7. This is how close he is to some of the best hitters and players in the game, right? Bryce Terang deserves to be on that all-star vote. He deserves it. I am. If there is a guy, and this isn't even a Brewer bias, if there's a guy who has played the way that he has, defensively, offensively, everything, all the intent, he checks all the boxes, right? It sucks to not see his name on that all-star vote there. So, with that, I mean, last with the Brewers news, they're going to have this upcoming series here with the Colorado Rockies. That's going to be starting up tonight here. 7:40 start for that one. We're going to see should be a good pitching matchup there with Gomber taking on Bryce Wilson for the Brewers. Gomber, he's got that 1.5 record there, 4.63 ERA there. Rockies have struggled this year. Bryce Wilson 5-3 with a 3.89 ERA. It's going to be dangerous, I would say, with the Brewers. As much as they love to give up the home run ball, heading to Colorado where the home run ball likes to fly a little bit more. So a key to this series, the Brewers keeping the ball on the ground, right? It's pretty common logic there, but keeping the ball on the ground in this one. But good news for the Milwaukee Brewers. Good news, Garrett Mitchell is set to be activated, and he will be on and with the team in Colorado for that opening of that series there. So great news to have Garrett Mitchell back. In that corresponding move, though, we did see Tyler Black sent back down to AAA Nashville there. Keep him getting constant at-bats, right? Black's going to be good. It's just a matter of when. Right now, with Rhys Hoskins, Black's not getting a lot of playing time. When Hoskins, potentially, if Hoskins does leave Milwaukee, we might see more out of Tyler Black there. So with that, that's about all I got for today. It was a fantastic day. Great day talking sports. I thank all you for listening along. Hopefully you yelled at me a little bit and you cussed me out and you said I was an idiot, but then maybe you agreed with me along the way. I don't know. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It's okay. It's okay. I get it. That's a great part about sports. It's about disagreement. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.